All right, so I added hi. So we need to go through this paint inspection, do some changes here. So what I think might be the best thing to do is to do a flow chart of the whole. First. Yeah. So right now the problem is the operators have to change color and change combons during the process, and then they're required to select whether the part is good, it has a rework, what the rework reason is, or if it's rejected and what the reject reason is. So in order to streamline that process, what we're wanting to do is try to integrate into the PLCs of the painting robots, and feed as much of that information automatically to the paint inspection operators so that they have less tasks to complete, and then have ways that there can be supervisor overrides, and then also a rework station for repairing the parts. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well,
okay, so yeah, so I think what we should do is just sort of rough out what the paint's assembly system looks like right now.
Okay. So say they come in there.
So this is paint prep here, right?
Yeah. There, they go like that.
Yeah.
And then here they have conveyor.
Yeah.
And then here they have the little operator guy.
Yeah.
And then they have, I guess, their racks of the parts.
So this is inspect. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Rating.
That's his little monitor there, the HMI.
What is that?
An alien. I don't know. That's the HMI.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
This is rework.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That's the. Where's the eraser on this stupid thing? What we got is over here is reject. And then in yellow is rework.
I guess I'm green then. Good.
Okay.
Okay. So what's happening at number one is
so there's RFID. Yeah.
Parts loaded onto a jig.
Yeah. So actually, before that, the operator is selecting what Kanban he wants to load.
Yeah, I'm gonna have that under here as part of that info.
Okay. tracks the jig really, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I guess it goes through the paint. And really the next time we're seeing it is when it comes off onto the conveyor.
Yeah.
Right? I guess, is it sensing the load on the rack or what?
No, it's
Or is it just sensing it go
so
by?
all right, backing up a second here. So what happens
Yeah.
at the so the operator selects the Kanban on their screen.
Okay. You want me to write it?
Yeah, maybe. So B, nice spelling.
Oh. Good, isn't it?
Okay, and then B, the RFID tag on the jig is red. Then there's a there's a camera that verifies. It doesn't verify color because there's no color yet, but it verifies the part is on the jig, or correct part is on the jig.
Okay.
Okay, so here we need to maybe do it in like blue. This is what we need to collect in terms of data here.
Sure. Yeah.
So we need to collect, I think we want to collect the cycle time that the loading operator has. And then we want to keep track of how many, because all these parts are built in batches by color, right, and type of part.
Yep.
So we want to keep track of how many are loaded for a particular color combo.
Okay.
Yeah. What else do we want to keep track of there? I don't know if this is the point where we do it, but we should be able to, at this point, predict how much material usage is being consumed, like in real time, because we'll know there's X number of grams of red paint and
yeah, you have to do it. Yeah, it'd be better to do it when they're loaded versus, because if they fall off, then there's no way to account for it, right?
Yeah. So let's
So,
keep
okay.
keep a running tab of material usage. I wonder if we should potentially have I guess we don't know at this point, we don't know what they have in inventory, right? But there seems to be, there could be some triggers and stuff for notifications if we're consuming a high amount and we have low inventory.
Yeah, I think I remember last year Dan saying somebody wanted a project based on how much paint they use, how much they have in stock, how much they're like I guess recycling.
Yeah, that was
Like I think they, yeah. So
then he
they,
got a new
I
job.
think they did want that, but then it never got put through. I don't think. I think he might have left or something, or went on to something else.
Well, he did. He works through TG&A now. That's who's on
Yeah.
the supplier performance thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's why that ended. Or
Yeah.
maybe it was a different reason. But
All right. So anyway, maybe like obviously we can't do that right now, but we should make sure that we have the capability of doing that because that's the only reason that they want to know that anyway.
okay.
And it might be a tie into JD Edwards where the materials received or something. I don't know.
Okay, I'll just leave it at
Yeah.
that. That's enough to remember. Okay. So then I think that's pretty much all we have to do at that station, I think, right?
I think
Because
so.
then we'll be looking for, I guess we could keep track of the last tag.
So
right? So
if
you know when it passes rather than just counting.
the other thing that could here, if we get the system together where Ali, where he can put in his production requirements for the day,
Mm-hmm.
we should be able to keep track of, like, I'm not sure what this operator right now is going off to know when to change batches. Right. So,
okay.
So we should somehow be able to tie that information into there to make sure that we're directing him to, you know, that like if he tries to change the combo and say, no, your production's built for today, kind of thing.
Okay, maybe I'll do that one yellow as well, because that's kind of when that gets put in, right? Or are we doing that right away too?
Well, let's just, I want to have it, let's put in the cat's ass thing here, and then we can pull some of it back if some of the other relating projects don't happen.
Sure, okay.
But, you know, for thinking of other customers, this is definitely important stuff for the system going into those places.
Yeah. Guess I should.
So basically, let them know the production schedule and where they are relative to it.
Yeah, I'm just being gender inclusive as well.
Yeah. So I guess we probably need to learn more about how they're making that decision today.
Yeah.
Because it might not be just up to the operator. Somebody might be telling them right when to change.
If I had to guess, that's just what he did the day before, but
It could be.
you never
There's
know.
probably a piece of paper on the wall.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's see. So what under cycle time?
Yeah.
We probably want, because cycle time is made up of dry cycle time and wet cycle time. So we should. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think we can. Trying to think here. We should be able to distinguish between the two. So basically, dry is the time between operations, where wet is the time of actually doing the operation.
Right.
Just put a question mark on that. I'm not sure if that's going to be important for them or not, but it certainly isn't a root cause scenario. You know, with the cycle times too long, determining whether the job is just taking too long or the person's just not doing their job.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I think there. So then let's do a similar thing for what happens at number 2. And then there's a bit of information that comes out between the two, right?
Yeah. That's way too big. Okay. Okay, so
what do they do
what
there?
happens
Basically, the jig will come into the unload station, and then the RFID is red.
Okay. Then the operator would.
Now this is where I think the process has changed over time. So what happened early on was there was almost like a 200% inspection. This unload operator would also look at the parts quickly, and if there was ones that were bad, would throw them out right there, and they wouldn't even go down the inspection here. I think they don't do that anymore. I hope they don't, because that's going to screw up the flow through here if they do, because we're going to lose parts. Yeah. So basically, I think the operator just unloads the parts and places them on that inspection conveyor. So here again, we're gonna collect so here we'll collect cycle time, dry and wet again. when there's a color change on the jig, we'll have to compare the number of parts that have been unloaded versus what was loaded to see if there's any lost parts.
I thought they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't necessarily know at that point, though.
We would know though.
We would know at the inspection.
No, we would know
But we
here
wouldn't know
at the
at this
because
point.
there's
Yeah,
we'd know here because there's an RFID read here, and so
for the
we
jig.
know. Yeah, but because we've assigned Kanbans to that RFID at the load station, we know what's supposed to be
Yeah.
coming off the unload, right?
Yeah, but there's no scanning or anything here. So when they
No.
come in there, we know that we've switched, but we don't know the parts on the conveyor. If there was any parts or if they fell off or.
Oh, that's true.
So we really should wait to check that until we scan the parts. So really at the inspection station, you would see, oh, okay, we switched color based on the jig, but there could be parts on the conveyor.
Yeah.
And then if we've scanned, if we counted that there should be 200 parts for Kanban 1, and we switch to Kanban 2, and then we see that we've scanned 200 parts through the inspection, then we know that 100% we need to switch to Kanban 2.
Yeah. Okay.
But if parts fall off, we're never going to scan 200 parts for Kanban 1 if they're stuck somewhere.
Right.
And so that's when we need to give them the option on the HMI. So at this point, we wouldn't know.
But so what we do know is when the color
So
changes.
we could calculate that. Yeah. Which we kind of did here, right? How many loaded of each Kanban? So.
Yeah. Okay. Going back to number
so
two.
basically what we need to do here is we need to activate that button on the HMI when we over here.
And we don't even need them to know what Kanban they're changing to because we'll know from the PLC,
exactly.
right? Yeah. Okay. We also, I was just thinking, we also can tell them we can basically keep an inventory inside the booth.
Okay.
So work in progress WIP for the booth. And then also really the cycle time in the booth as well.
Okay.
And we
then
can give them like total production count through the booth.
Okay.
Which should be the same as inspection, but it might not necessarily be.
Well, this is always going to be higher though. Same at best, but we know it's going to be higher because the only way that we can count this is if we include all those pieces that are stuck in there.
Yeah.
Which I guess we could, if we're figuring out how many are lost, we could use compare that total production count to whatever's scanned, whether it's good or bad. Okay, and then I guess really call this process 3, right? Okay, so here we got the parts. Basically, the parts are coming down the conveyor to him.
Yeah.
And then he's inspecting them.
Yeah, so they pick up a part,
Selecting if
inspect
they're good rework, reject.
Yeah.
The barcode prints, they put the barcode on the part.
Yeah.
And then it goes to one of those places.
Yeah. They
That's
basically
it,
have
okay.
three different Kanban carts there. One for good,
Okay.
one for reject, one for rework. Yeah.
Okay.
And rework and reject have them identify what the reason is as well.
Yeah. Okay, and then I guess barcode is printed. Operator.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Is there ever a scenario where the supervisor brings a part that wasn't really from that particular set of parts, presses, reinspects, scans it, and puts it in?
For sure. Could even be from a different day.
So that causes a problem for us then, for counting. Unless, I guess, we're excluding all the reinspect or
No,
supervisor override.
it creates a challenge for sure. So we
Yeah.
have to. Yeah.
Because
what
what's
would
going to
there?
happen? So there's two options, I guess, right? So reinspect button. The first option is the operator pressed rework instead of good, or rework
Yeah.
and chose the wrong reason, or something like that. That's one way, and that we can keep with our count of the parts that they're doing.
Yeah.
But if it's a supervisor override, I guess the best way to separate that is that the only way that is ever pressed is if it's something from a different day. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to be counting for our 200 white parts before we switch to red. We're going to have none fall off inside. The supervisor is going to come in, scan 2, and then our last 2 white parts are going to be triggered as red because we're going to lock them into changing the Kanban.
But if they already have a barcode,
or I guess at that point anyway, they should really be doing it through rework. I guess, okay, if they do the reinspect button, are we forcing them to scan it?
Yeah, they have to scan it.
Oh, okay.
That's the only.
Okay,
That's the only
problem.
way. Yeah, that's the only way that That's the only way they can get to that functionality.
Oh, okay. Okay, then we don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, because even if it comes from a different day, I guess it technically changes the quantity. I guess it doesn't really change the quantity from a previous day, because if it was rework from, say, Tuesday and now it's Wednesday, we're not going to change the stats from that. It still was marked as a rework during that shift.
Yeah, it just makes the stats for this day look better, which isn't necessarily
right,
wrong,
because they end up
still
with one more.
parts through.
They ran up with one more good part. We just have to make sure it doesn't get into the logic of what's going on in the booth.
Yeah. Well, the logic going on in the booth could be based on the printed barcodes.
Yeah.
And then if we ever select one of those printed barcodes, well, no, yeah, if we're figuring out how many are coming out, so for the purpose of figuring out if any fell off in the booth,
yeah,
all we have to do is compare how many were loaded to how many barcodes were printed.
Yeah.
Then we're good. And then, which should be the only thing that we'd have to keep separate then is how many times they're selecting good without having to scan a part.
Right. In other words, how many come through the normal process.
Yeah, so it kind of depends how it's being done. And so if they're just counting all the good ones, then that's fine. All we have to do then is subtract however many were re-inspected as good.
Yeah. So basically at the end of the day, they're gonna have.
Although I guess at the day, those
here's our production. So. Here's our production counts at the end of the day, right? So you're gonna have a couple of rows here. So this is, say, the good parts.
Yep.
So we're gonna have this row's inspected good right off the bat.
Yep.
Oops, spelled it wrong. Oh well.
Well, I guess if we're saving their history,
and then
if
yeah, there's another row it's still good, but they came through reinspection.
yeah,
And then there's another row that's good that came from rework.
yeah, but that's not part of this right now though.
No, but what I'm saying is, so if we have 1,000 parts that came through,
Yeah,
990 were involved in the main process coming through the paint booth. You know,
Yeah.
5 might have come from a reinspect from a previous shift, and you know, the other 5 came from parts being reworked to get to our 1,000.
Yeah, the only thing that we'd have to make sure with them is that something's not being marked as good and for whatever reason reinspected and marked as good again, or some BS like that.
Which could definitely happen.
That's the only thing that could mess it up, depending on how they're tracking it. If they're just saying good marker tally,
if we have that,
then that's going to happen.
If we have that scenario, we could, if they're doing a reinspect, we already know what condition it was. So if it was a reinspect for a part that was previously marked good, we can disable the good selection. So either they kind of have, when it comes up, it has good, rework, reject, and cancel. And so if the part was previously good, the good ones grayed out and they can cancel it if they want to keep it good, or they can mark it now as reject or rework. And I guess the same should happen for the other 2.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there is ever a case though that they're reinspecting something but it's still good, like legitimately. Maybe you want to keep track of that though.
Yeah, I guess there probably
I'm not sure that would ever be a case. Well, in that case, what I would say we do is, if we're scanning a part that's already good for reinspect, we subtract 1 from that tally, and then if they choose good again, then we're just adding 1 to the tally again. So it's still
because there could be a case where they drop all the parts on the floor without wrecking them, and they have to scan them again to see what the selection was to put them back in the right cart, right?
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, when they scan to reinspect a part, we're looking at what that part has been marked as.
Yeah.
We have to remove that from, if it was rework before, reject before, good before, no matter what, we have to remove that part from whatever it was marked as before.
Yeah.
So we don't erase the history from it, but we subtract 1 from whatever pool it was from. And then if it's still good, then the part just gets added to good, and the parts in good never changed. But if it goes to rework, then it still works. That 1 came out of good, 1 went into rework.
Yeah.
Right. So with the reinspect button, I'll say they have to scan it, and then adjust the origin tally.
Yeah, we can adjust it automatically. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. Sorry, I'm not talking about the operator. I mean, like in our backend. Okay. Okay.
It'll be a little better when I get that other thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now I guess we're into what we're going to be able to do for them, right? Pretty much all that happens there. So actually, I guess actually what they can do is that's basically if in the case where one falls off or some quality person comes and steals a part on that conveyor, then they're able to change when they need to, right?
Right. So there's never a case where, or is there a case where we won't have told them about the Kanban change yet and they see that they need to do it? I don't think there is.
No, because we're activating that button when so when the guy that's loading these jigs, when he changes what Kanban they're on, we know which jig he's loading them to based on the RFID. And so as soon as that same tag gets triggered when they're at the unload station, that's when we activate that button. Because we know that there is potential that that is the next part.
Correct.
It'll probably be however long before it actually gets down the conveyor to the person, but I don't think we want to bank on that.
So now, okay, so we have it covered if there's missing parts that they can delay. No, okay, so hold on. So say there's 5 jigs with missing parts.
Yeah.
It's the first 5 jigs in that batch, say.
Yeah.
And we trigger the change on the first jig, but it'll be a while before the parts get there for them to start to use. So we're covered that way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because at that point, one of two things is going to happen. Either no parts fell off on the first Kanban, like before the change, and we're automatically switching, and then the operator is just sitting there waiting for a part to come. The other option is that some fell off on the first, and then they fell off on the second right away. In that case, we're still on Kanban 1. The operator has the button available as soon as the first jig comes, and maybe there's no parts on it because they fell off. He's sitting there with the thing still available. And then as soon as he sees that the next part is a different color, he's supposed to click that button.
Okay, so
if he doesn't, then
so that's what I'm wondering. How do we put some sort of control in there if he doesn't bother to do it?
Well, that's what we can't control without a camera or anything. In that case,
we can do it by knowing we know how many parts were loaded for, say, the white Kanban.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So so what's going to happen is if no parts fall off on Kanban 1, we can switch it automatically, no problem.
Yeah.
If they do fall off on both cases or on the first case, we're relying on him to press that button. If he doesn't, if say 5 parts fell off on Kanban 1 and then we start Kanban 2, if he doesn't press anything, we're going to have the first 5 parts on Kanban 2 be labeled as Kanban 1, and then we'll automatically switch.
Well, we won't automatically switch. We're going to stop them from proceeding until they do the switch, right?
Well, we'd be able to switch it for them at that point.
Yeah.
The inspection, we could just automatically switch it. The only reason that we want to have the button available is in the case that any parts have fallen off.
Yeah.
And then they switch. Not necessarily right away. It could be first start of the shift. They start Kanban 1, 5 parts fall off. No parts fall off until they switch to Kanban 2. But no matter what, if 200 parts on Kanban 1 entered and 5 fell off, they're only going to ever be able to scan 95 parts from Kanban 1. So
Yeah.
we can't automatically switch that without knowing exactly how many parts came off or them scanning or doing anything like that. So in the case that they fall off, we have to rely on the operator to switch. And if he doesn't switch, then what's going to happen is we're going to have
As soon as we're past
however many parts fell off in Kanban 1 are going to be mislabeled in Kanban 2.
Yeah.
Is what's going to happen. So there's, they said that they don't want to put a camera or anything in there like that. And
part of
they're
it's
not gonna-
really, I guess it would be just a camera to detect the part. We wouldn't even need to know the color, because the color, there's a couple of colors that you can't distinguish between with the camera on those particular ones, the metallic ones.
Yeah, no, we just need to know if there's a part physically on it or not, is all we need to do.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't matter, the camera doesn't need to know the color. We know the color based on the RFID, the jig.
Yeah.
And so
what we
don't know is if there's a part.
What we should do is build it such that, that we have the flexibility to have a camera there to know. But if the company decides to have no camera there, then we kind of have that other failover mode that you're talking about.
Yeah, so what I'll do is, so here, I'll just move this stuff down here, but right here, I'll just say,
Part presence, yeah. All right, well, let's call it this for today. We can carry on tomorrow.
okay. I guess I'll throw this into the share file. Say hi to Leah.
Hi, Talia. I hope you love this. It's really exciting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should give her a code. We should give her a code word to tell us, make sure she watched it all.
Yeah. What do you think it should be?
Popsicle.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go with something a little bit more narcissistic than that.
No.
Like, what would we have to call you when we were a kid?
Yeah.
The captain, my captain, you glorious being.
Oh yeah, you mighty person. You're all. I can't remember. You wonderful being.
Yeah, there's a whole thing I remember on the original Big Boat.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So next time Talia has to refer to you as that.
Yeah. Good luck. Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you.
Okay. All right. See you tomorrow.
See ya. Bye.
Okay, bye.